for WDW Bound. And since we've finished our series of trip vlogs for our 50th anniversary trip to Disney World Resort, we thought we would kind of recap all together what she and I did, what we did differently, what we did the same, and
what we experienced.
Right. Just, I mean, you've already seen the vlogs, obviously, but just go a little bit more into detail because, I'm going to be honest, I'm not the best vlogger. Like, it's not my area of expertise. Mm-hmm. I forget to do a lot.
Yeah.
So, like, I didn't even vlog at all for Animal Kingdom. Like, just.
Yeah. And I didn't vlog at all, so you don't see anything like that.
So, anyway, we went down on Thursday.
Yep.
On the 30th and drove straight through and got in. About 9:30 that night and checked in at the Contemporary. Thankfully, our room was ready when we got there. We were a little worried about that because I didn't get the text until probably 6:30.
Oh, wow.
And I'd said if I didn't get it by like 8 or so, I was going to call because like I didn't want to get there at 9 o'clock and not have a room.
And that's super late for a room too.
Really. And so let me tell you just a little bit, because I don't think we've talked about the Contemporary and how it's still under construction. And the room right next to us wasn't ready.
Oh no.
So a lot of the rooms weren't ready yet. So we heard construction starting probably like 5 a.m. Yeah, it wasn't great. Yeah. I loved the fact that we were in a newly renovated room, but the construction going on was a little bit, which I mean, we were warned, like it's on the website and stuff. And also like when you're doing your early check-in or whatever, it tells you that there's construction going on. But also we discovered that we're 99% sure that we were the first family to stay in that room that we were in.
Okay.
There were a couple of things that we noticed that hadn't been done. And then there was like some painter's tape on the ceiling. So
maybe that's why it was so late, because they were like scrambling to do the final touches.
That's kind of what we figured. And so the whole time we were at the resort, like there were construction people working all day and super early. They were all super kind, of course. Yeah. But that part was a little less than ideal. Yeah. But the rooms were really cute.
Yeah, I'm glad that y'all got an opportunity to check out the new, really the new renovated.
Because of course, cool. We booked it a year and a half ago, and didn't even realize, I guess, that it was going to be renovated. So the rooms were really cute. Yeah. I mentioned it in my room tour video, which I'll link. That it's obviously The Incredibles, but it's not so in your face. Like I feel like the new Moana rooms at the Polynesian are super in your face.
Really?
Yeah, like that whole like mural wall thing or whatever. Yeah. I feel like that's more in your face than these were. Yeah. Now what about y'all's? Because yours were renovated too, not as recently. But.
Yeah, we stayed at All Star Movies, and we got a preferred room. So I don't know if is All Star Movies done. Like all of the rooms have been renovated. I want to say they have.
I think you're right.
But if you've done the Pop Century renovated rooms, very like almost identical. Yeah. So it's gonna have the Murphy beds and then the hardwood floor, and it was very, very nice. Like, don't get me wrong. Yeah. I really, really liked the renovation.
I love the addition of the Murphy beds. Yeah. Especially when you're in the Value Resort, it just gives you so much more room.
It was so funny though, because it was just the two of us. So when we walked in, there was literally like 10 pillows on the bed. And I'm like, I know that this is for the Murphy bed, but then we weren't using the Murphy bed. We had all the stuff laid out on the little table where the Murphy bed collapses down. And so, like, we were stuffing pillows in, like, drawers because we brought our own pillows because we're, like, neurotic that way. We had to have our pillows from home. Yeah. Yeah. And so, like, I had, like, 2 pillows in, like, the big drawer and then, like, 1 pillow and 1 pillow and, like, 1 pillow in the closet. And, like, we just had to stuff pillows everywhere because they were all over the bed. Yeah. Literally half of the bed was pillows.
Oh, so I was going to mention this, too. And I don't mean to be nitpicky because, I mean, we were in a deluxe, so I can't complain. But the bathroom, which again, if you watch the room tour, it's a complete glass door shower. So you walk in and like, so we're a family of 4 and my daughter's 11 now. So she's like a little more into her privacy than she was before.
Yeah.
And so if one of us needed to take a shower, like the entire bathroom was essentially blocked off because the toilet area is attached.
Yeah.
So I didn't love that.
Yeah.
I didn't love that at all.
I think that's something pretty typical of most resorts, though. Like, that's kind of the standard, is the bathroom is just the bathroom.
Yeah.
The only alternatives are, like, some of the family suites, right? Because I remember when we stayed in the car suite, not only did it have 2 bathrooms, but the toilet was partitioned off from, like, the rest of the bathroom.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Or was it the shower that was partitioned? I can't remember.
But either way, like, but even then, back when I would just prefer Disney, if you're listening, to not have glass door showers. Like, if you could make them opaque in some way, shape, or form, just for, because we were talking about, just for privacy's sake, because we were talking about it already. The kids don't like share a room or share a bed, so, which is fine. They're 11 and 8. So we're already thinking in the future that we're going to have to look into those standard rooms that sleep 5, just so that one kid can have their own bed. But it's just becoming increasingly difficult, the showering situation.
Yeah.
So anyway, I feel like we've talked a lot about the rooms, and we're already been in this for 6 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, day 1, we were in Magic Kingdom.
Yep.
And our plan, the reason we picked the contemporary was so that we could walk straight over and get there fairly early. It had a typical, like, the park hours, so that it opened at 8. Resort guests could come in at 7:30. We started walking over there around 7 that morning, and I heard people talking as we were walking that people had been on Main Street at the hub by like 6 a.m. that morning. So I was like, this is going to be nuts. Like, you know, I've been talking that it was going to be crazy, and I was preparing myself for crazy crowds, and it was. But once we got through, I don't know how we ended up splitting up, but Christopher and Zachary went one way and me and Mel went another way. And as we got up past through Main Street, they diverted the early morning guests to the right side towards Tomorrowland. And once we got past that, it was great. Like, there was nobody back in Fantasyland. And I think the reason for that is that they did a little castle show that morning with the characters, and we just decided that that wasn't worth it.
Yeah. Or the, you know, the fights that broke out in the Emporium.
Or the Emporium, right. Y'all didn't see that. That's insane. So, one of the big items was the Starbucks tumblers, which I'll admit I wanted. I'm a big Starbucks tumbler fan. But literal fist fights breaking out in the Emporium over the merchandise.
Like, just the videos that I saw on Twitter and Instagram and, like, social media, I was like, I'm so glad that we didn't do any of that. Like, it just made me want to hyperventilate just looking at the footage.
And I do feel like Disney may have made a mistake in limiting the 50th merchandise to one store per park.
Yeah.
If it were more spread out.
Or just limiting how many people they let in. Like, Disney completely controlled how many people they let in at a given time. It should never have gotten that crowded.
But there was a giant line. So was it just because I think they were limiting how many people they were letting in, but it's just because everybody was going for the exact same things at the exact same time?
Maybe.
I'm not
sure.
Yeah,
I guess you could see.
Because it was in a very small area of the Emporium.
Yeah, that's true. They should have spread out the 50th merch across the entire Emporium.
And maybe that made it more difficult for them to try to curb the resellers, because if you can only buy 2 of each item per person, but there's 5 stores in the park, like they could then get 10.
And didn't they do some merchandise at Big Top Souvenirs on the first?
I'm not sure. We didn't
I think they did, because I saw on Twitter that there was a virtual queue to get into Big Top Souvenirs, but it was just for the one day merch. Because we went in the second day on Saturday at Magic Kingdom and there was nothing.
Oh yeah, we never made it into Big Top because there was a huge line.
Yeah. So I think that's what it was. It was a second location to get the 50th day 1 merch. Because
I could only find, like, what's it called? What's the new store at Epcot? The
Creation Shop.
Yeah, the Creation Shop. That was the only place selling it in Epcot. I never found it in Hollywood Studios.
I didn't find any 50th merch at all at Hollywood Studios.
And the only thing I found at Animal Kingdom were these ears. And the ears of the big gold bow. Like the flat ear one, like this one.
Yeah.
So anyway, merchandise was absolutely nuts. Also, the line for the popcorn buckets was insane. Insane. And if you were a popcorn bucket person, do your thing. But it was wild. It was wild. So it completely flipped on its head my thought of what the day was going to be like. Because I thought I was going to be waiting in super long lines for every attraction we wanted to ride.
No.
Not at all. Not at all. Like, it was...
Our Epcot day was great. Like, while you were in Magic Kingdom...
Yeah, tell us about your Epcot day.
So, our Epcot day was fantastic. Like, I kept... Periodically through the day, I would just stop and just look at Sean and be like, why is today going so well? Like, why are we having such a good day? I'm suspicious. But it was great. So, but we ended up stopping because we didn't get to leave on Thursday until after 5 o'clock because we both had to work. So we ended up stopping in Tifton, Georgia to sleep, and then we left. So our original plan was to go to our resort first because I had put early check-in as noon because I was hoping that we would get a virtual queue at 7 a.m. and did not. So that plan kind of messed up because with Remy's, you can get a 7 a.m. wherever you're at. So in Tifton, Georgia.
Just like Rise of the Resistance.
Yeah, just like Rise of the Resistance. So, so that did not pan out. So I knew that we had to be in the park at 1 o'clock. So instead of going to our resort, we just went straight to Epcot. And that's where...
So what time did y'all get to Epcot?
It was a very chaotic 15 minutes. So the original ETA was 12:30, but then of course my husband cannot get anywhere on time, so he had to make a pee break, like 30 minutes before Orlando, and I'm like, Sean, we're running out of time. Like the ETA on our GPS is like that number is increasing. Please hurry. So anyway, so we pulled into the park at Epcot at 12:45.
Oh my God.
12:45. And we drove, so we're in that huge parking lot.
Yeah.
And the first section had already filled up, so we were in the second group of parking spaces. Mm-hmm. And so we're walking, and we're like power walking down there because the trams don't work.
Right.
They're not running or whatever. So, and then my husband, who like is completely carefree, is over there like taking pictures of Spaceship Earth, and I'm like, gotta go.
We gotta get in the park.
And I'm like, but before that, of course, I was not ready to go into the park. So like my park bag was in my suitcase. My magic bands were in the suitcase. So like I'm at the trunk, like slinging stuff, trying to get the park bag ready to go into the park. And so we're power walking. And so about 10 minutes till we hit bag check. And of course my bag gets flagged.
No.
Yes. Because we made the conscious decision, and I don't know if this was in any or not, but it's because we knew we were going to the festival to get food, so we bought a stainless steel set of silverware so we wouldn't have to use the plastics to try to be more eco-friendly. So
it got flagged.
It got flagged every time we went through the security. So I had to stop and I had to search my bag, and so after that they were fine. And like by the fourth time that my bag got checked, the kind security guy was like, next time just take that out and then just hold it in front of you when you go through, and then you won't have to get your bag checked next time. And I was like, thanks. Thanks, that would have been nice to have known yesterday. So anyway, so it's 10 minutes till we're through bag check, and I'm like, okay, we've got just this one little hurdle, just getting through the Magic Band scanner. We get up to the scanner. I'm all grins because I'm excited because we're just barely going to make it. And then neither one of our magic bands worked.
Oh my gosh.
10 minutes till 1 o'clock. So the sweet cast member looks at me and she goes, oh, are you trying to park hop? It's not quite time yet. And I was like, no, we have a reservation. And she was like, okay. And so I had to hold the hand out, and call another cast member over, and he's got the iPad with the scanner. And so he scans my magic band, which I had my silver sparkly one because I wanted to match Epcot.
Heck yeah.
And so he goes, okay, well, I see one of your problems. This one's not activated. And I said, oh. He said, did you just buy it? And I said, yeah, a year ago. I guess I never, activated it. And so I was like, but that's okay, that's okay. And so I'm like slinging through my park bag and I'm like, I've got another one. And so I pulled out the one that I had ordered for the 50th. And I'm like, this I know is activated because I had checked both of ours before we left and we had bought it through our reservation, so it automatically gets activated. So he scans that and he goes, well, that's showing up as Randy.
Randy?
And I'm like, what? Like, I was in tears at this point. And he was like, that's okay. He said the Magic Band scanner is a different system than what's in My Disney Experience. He said, so it's correct in the My Disney Experience, but it's showing up as somebody else. And I'm like, in my head, because I'm the planner for both Sean and I, you know, all of that responsibility falls on me. So I'm going, did they lose a reservation? Did I forget to give Sean a reservation? I got my reservation, but did they lose it? There's no more reservations for today. It's a full park. We're not going to get in. Like, all of these things are running through my head. And so he's like, it's fine. And then he hands us 2 physical tickets, like cards. And he said, just use this in the interim. And then whenever you get inside and get settled down, just before you leave, go to guest relations. They'll fix your Magic Band and you'll be good to go. So we get in and it's literally 101 as we're getting through the Magic Band section.
I'm impressed they got that done in 10 minutes, honestly.
I know. And so thankfully we got a backup room. It was like group 161 or something like that.
Yeah.
But I was like, we're not going to do it. It's not going to happen. Ruined everything. But it ended up working out fine. But then afterwards, like, I was so much adrenaline and like butterflies and all this kind of stuff. I just looked at Sean and I was like, I think I'm going to throw up. Like, I was so wrecked by that whole experience. But it ended up working out fine.
Oh, good.
And then we went to guest relations and they fixed it and, you know, the sweet cast member got us ready to go and all that good stuff. But it was a very stressful 10 minutes. And that's how our day started. But thankfully it was like smooth sailing the rest of the way. So it was great.
Please tell me you used your silverware.
Yes, we did. We did, actually. Yeah. So we ended up eating at Sunshine Seasons. Mm-hmm. So we headed there because this was at like 1 o'clock, so we were hungry. So we went, Soarin' is Sean's favorite ride. So we went there. I was like, okay, well, let's get us some food. I know that they've got some 50th treats. We'll get those. We'll get some lunch. We'll ride Soarin'. We'll do Love with the Land, and then we'll head out. So we went and got the little chocolate tart treat, which we'll insert that picture. It was really good.
Yeah.
And we used our silverware for our lunch because I got a sandwich and then Sean got like chicken stir fry or something like that.
They don't do mobile order there, do they?
Mm-mm.
I didn't think so.
No. So it's all pretty much like it's pretty much normal. It's like pre-COVID now because like we were able to fix our drink. You didn't have to get the cast member to serve it for you.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Yeah. And you go up to the kiosks. Mm-hmm. Now our hotel food court was still mobile order only, but Sunshine Seasons was not. So we were able to use our silverware for the festival food, and Sean used it for his lunch.
So what did y'all get festival food wise?
We didn't get a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
We did.
I didn't get any.
You didn't get any? We got the Kahlua pork sliders because those are our favorites. We got 2 of those because we don't share that well. And then we tried, the new thing that we tried was the Brazilian cheese bread, which was good, but I think it would probably have been better fresher because what we ended up doing is grabbing it because the Brazil booth and the Hawaii booth are pretty close to each other. Like, you know, the center where you go into the World Showcase, Hawaii is on the Mexico side, right there next to the entrance. And then Brazil is on the Canada side.
Gotcha.
So we went to Brazil first and then walked across and then went to Hawaii and got our food and then found a table. So by the time that we got through the Brazil booth to the Hawaii booth, through that, found a table, my cheese bread was cold. So, and, it was a little bit congealed in the center. I mean, it still tasted good, but if it had been warm and gooey, I think it would have been a lot better. But the Kahlua pork slider was delicious as always. It's one of our favorites. So, and I think that was it. No, we got the teriyaki chicken bao bun from Japan. We got that.
I'm trying to think if there's anything classic Food and Wine that I love. But I don't think there is. I'm more of a flower and garden girl, so...
Yeah. The Kahlua pork sliders is a repeater for us. It's one of our favorites.
So, what attractions did y'all do?
We did Soarin'. It was a 20-minute wait when we got there, which was amazing. Yeah. Living with the Land was literally walk on. Like, we walked through the queue and immediately onto the boat.
Yep.
It was great.
Same for us.
And then we were sitting there, and I was looking at the queues, and Frozen Ever After was a 35-minute wait.
Was it actually 35 minutes?
I think it was less than that.
Yeah, it usually is, I've noticed.
Because when we walked through, it was up to 40, but I would say we probably waited half of that, so maybe 20 minutes. So we did Frozen Ever After, which Sean had never done, because it's always too long. It's always like 60 plus minutes. And so we were like, if we're going to do Frozen, now is the time. So we did that, and then poor Sean was still in blue jeans, like pants.
Ooh.
Because that's what he wants to travel in pants because it's more comfortable. And so he was like, I'm really hot because it was like 90 degrees. So we ended up leaving from there. We did get another festival drink from Joffrey's on our way out, which was funny. Another funny experience because we got the Golden Stardust, which is like a strawberry cheesecake smoothie. It was really good. And then it had the colored sprinkles decorated for the 50th. And so we were drinking that on our way out of the park. And we had maybe like that much left, like maybe a third of it left in the cup. And we were walking towards the exit. And the cast member goes, I'm sorry, ma'am, but you're going to have to finish that before you leave. And I was like, she was like, alcohol can't be outside of the parks. And I was like, okay, but it was not an alcoholic. I was like, I mean, it's fine. We'll drink it. But we didn't have any, it wasn't an alcoholic beverage. And she goes, oh, okay. She was like, well, you know, Joffrey's been doing that here lately. Apparently, and I'll insert the picture too, for future reference, there's, for Joffrey's cups, if it is an alcoholic beverage, there will be an orange band around the center. And that indicates to other cast members that it's an alcoholic drink.
So Joffrey's did alcohol.
Yeah. Yeah, you can get, like, we could have gotten something else, some sort of pumpkin latte. You could have gotten it spiked with something. But yeah, so they had some specialty alcoholic beverages, and she was like, oh, they must have just used the wrong cup. She said they've been doing that kind of a lot here lately. I don't know if they're running out of the originals and like the non-alcoholic and just using what they have or whatever. But then by the time that I had gotten but it's not alcoholic, out of my mouth, Sean had already downed it. He was like, mission accomplished. So we threw it and then we went to the car. And then we went back to the resort to check in and put our stuff down and all that kind of stuff. And then we came back around like 6? Yeah. 6:30, something like that. To spend the rest of the evening, get some dinner, and then watch Harmonious.
And Remy's.
And Remy's, yeah. Our Remy's group wasn't called until like 8. So it was definitely one of the later ones. But it got called about 8 o'clock. And then we just kind of wandered around until Harmonious we found a spot to sit at like 9:30.
And we're not going to talk a lot about Harmonious right now, just because we're going to do a whole video just on the nighttime spectaculars. Yeah. So the rest of our Magic Kingdom day, we talked before, we decided to do just opening day attractions. So we rode, let me see, what did we do first? I wore a carousel shirt. I didn't even do the carousel. We did Tomorrowland Speedway, we did Barnstormer, we did Dumbo multiple times.
Really?
Yeah, the kids love Dumbo, man. Like, all the time. I think I probably rode it 5 times. Wow. Barnstormer, talking about the crowd levels, if this gives you any indication, we rode Barnstormer, and then it was almost like a nighttime after hours party. The cast member was like, if you want to go again, you don't have to get out.
Wow.
So we were like, heck yeah, let's go. So we rode Barnstormer again. Christopher talked Zachary into doing Haunted Mansion. So he rode Haunted Mansion for the first time. I know, I was so proud of him. And loved it. He absolutely loved it. We were going to do Jungle Cruise, but it was the only ride the whole day that stayed over 30-40 minutes. So we just decided not to.
Yeah.
Which was a little disappointing, but
It probably would have been less because that was our experience.
Yeah.
Because it was posted at 45. We did it on Saturday. It was 45 and we were done in 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Like that's how long we waited. So what else did you ride besides those other than you wanted to do Jungle Cruise and you didn't?
Right, we didn't.
Did you do like People Mover or anything like that?
No, we didn't do People Mover. Oh gosh, that line was
insane.
Yeah. Like 45 minutes or so.
Yeah.
I couldn't talk the kids into doing Carousel of Progress, which is an opening day anyway. So I don't think we did a whole lot more, honestly. We just kind of wandered a good bit. Where did we had breakfast at Sleepy Hollow. Oh, that's when we ended up leaving. We had a reservation at Chef Mickey's.
Okay.
And it was for at 11:40, I think. So it was still breakfast food because they're still serving it family style.
Okay.
I thought they'd gone back to buffet, but it's still family style.
Okay.
So we had 2 breakfasts that day. Which I mean,
I like breakfast.
Yeah, I like breakfast. So waffles twice.
Yeah.
It was really good though. You know, your basics, but also they had this like cheesy hash brown casserole that was very good, and some sort of chocolate banana nut bread something French toast kind of deal. I didn't like it because I don't like bananas, but I did try it.
Okay.
And they had like celebration pancakes for the kids, and they had a bunch of specialty drinks too if you wanted those. So we left Magic Kingdom probably around 11:15 or so to go back and do I'm calling it brunch because that was very late. Yeah. And then we actually had time to play at the pool, which we haven't done in forever. So we let the kids play in the pool for a little while, went back, like had them shower and clean, rested for a good bit, and then we didn't head back into the park probably until 5:30 or 6. And Mel and I just kind of wandered and took pictures. We went looking for the golden statues, and Chris and Zachary went and rode more rides. Again, they were all over the place riding stuff. And we settled down around 7, or me and Mel did anyway, to try to find a spot for Enchantment. And again, we'll explain more of this in our nighttime spectaculars, but we ended up not staying just because it being the first night, the crowd level was very uncomfortable.
It never got better.
At least not for night 2.
No, not
because everybody who couldn't get in for night 1 came for night 2, I'm sure.
And I feel like that's going to be how it's going to be.
Yeah.
Because it's new, it's Magic Kingdom. Magic Kingdom is always crowded. So I feel like that's just going to how it's going to be.
I did think that was the first time I've ever been in a park where it hit capacity and they no longer allowed park hopping.
Oh, wow.
And then we also got a push notification from the My Disney Experience app that said, if you want to watch the fireworks, you cannot come to Main Street. There's no place for you on Main Street or in the hub. You need to go to Frontierland or Fantasyland or...
Wow.
Yeah, so I was very glad that we left, honestly.
Yeah.
Not to get too public healthy or anything, but you know, Christopher and I are vaccinated, but the kids are too young to be, and I need them to be in school.
Yeah. Well, even then, even just like non-COVID, that makes me nervous.
Yeah, I'm not a crowd person just in general.
It makes me claustrophobic.
Yeah, and it was getting very, very tight.
Yeah.
And we were even not in a prime spot because of the projections that they're doing, not only on the castle, but through Main Street. We would not have been able to see the Main Street ones at all.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was our day 1. Finishing up, we ended up going back to the resort. Again, glad we were staying at the Contemporary. We could wander down to the balcony and watch the fireworks from there. We were on the balcony with about 3 or 4 other people. And at the end of it, when Tinkerbell flies, spoiler alert, that's literally what I said. Out loud, I went, well, you know, pretty things went boom and Tinkerbell flew. That's literally all I care about. And the woman in front of me goes, me too, we're good. So yeah, and then day 2 we went to Epcot. We didn't get into Epcot till 10ish or 11ish. Kind of wandered. We did get a Remy's first thing. We got evacuated from Remy's. We made it to, like, we were the next one to get into a cart, and then all the lights went on and we were escorted out, but they gave us a, like, I don't know what they're calling it now, but a lightning lane pass essentially, so we could come back in. We wouldn't have to wait in the line again second time.
Yeah. So you could go anytime?
Yeah, anytime. And they would just scan your band and they would send you through the lightning lane queue instead of the regular standby queue.
Okay.
So that was helpful.
Yeah.
And Mel and I ended up not riding Remy's, but Christopher and Zachary did and loved it. I know y'all were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we liked it. It's not my favorite, but I think it's a good addition to Epcot because Epcot just doesn't really have a whole lot of rides.
It really doesn't.
And so it needs more. And so I think it's a good family ride addition to,
and it's super
Epcot.
cute.
It is cute.
It is cute.
I'll tell you this, and this is just because I have glasses, but I don't love the dependence on 3D glasses.
Yeah.
They did fit okay over these frames, but I can't wear contacts. And so, contacts are not an option.
Yeah.
So I have to, anytime I use 3D glasses, they have to be able to fit over. And so like Remy's fit over my glasses okay, Flight of Passage ones do not fit over my glasses. So I will commend them on that. Like if you're gonna do 3D glasses, at least those fit over my glasses relatively well.
Right.
To where they weren't uncomfortable, because Flight of Passage I have to like do this the whole ride because they won't stay on my nose.
So what did y'all do on Magic Kingdom Day?
So our Magic Kingdom Day was not as good as our Epcot Day, unfortunately. But I think that's just kind of with the territory. Magic Kingdom is more busy just in general.
Yeah.
Anytime that you go, it's more busy than other parks. So we were able to ride the things that we wanted to. We were able to do Haunted Mansion. We were able to do Pirates. We did People Mover. We did Carousel of Progress. I think that was probably it. We didn't do Big Thunder, even though I thought about it. And then we did a little bit of eating. We got the specialty burger at Tortuga Tavern, which was like a teriyaki burger with pineapple and red onion on top. It wasn't good. We love teriyaki burgers. Like if you've ever been to Red Robin, they have I think it's called the Big Kahuna Burger, and it's a teriyaki marinated burger with grilled pineapple and onions. And of course I get it without onions because I don't like onions, but it's like the most delicious burger you could ever get. But it was not good. Yeah. It was not good. But we wanted to try it because it was
specialty.
It was specialty. So
the only thing that we ordered specialty was I can't remember what it's called, but it was a specialty non-alcoholic drink at Sleepy Hollow. And it was very strong. It was ginger beer based.
Oh, was that the Doomberry one?
Yes.
Yeah, we thought about getting it, but I was like, I don't know about that.
I was the only one that didn't like it.
Really?
Everybody else in my family loved it.
Huh.
But I was like, I took a sip and then I took a picture and that was it.
Yeah.
And then Chris and Zachary and Melanie finished it off. So that was the only, I think that's the only specialty item we got, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a huge fan of Disney cupcakes, so I didn't want to get any of the cupcakes. And
we got the specialty. We got the Uncle Orphal's bathtub sundae from Anti-Gravity.
Oh, I saw that, yeah.
Yes. It was good. I mean, it was just soft serve with brownies at the bottom and whipped cream with America, like red, white, and blue sprinkles on top. But I really wanted the bathtub that you get with it. And so we actually... I laughed because I was like, only in Disney do you walk around a park with melted ice cream in a plastic bathtub looking for a bathroom so you can clean it out in the sink. But that's what we ended up doing because I want to use it like in our actual bathroom, get some like toiletries and stuff, and put in a little sponge or a little washcloth or something like that and put that in there.
And then y'all didn't stay for Enchantment either. You ended up coming to the Contemporary hanging out with.
So we had a dining reservation at Tony's at 3:30. Which we ended up getting there early because it was really hot. There wasn't a breeze like there was on Friday. So I was like dying, and then I had a headache from the heat, and so we ended up getting there at like 3:15, and they let us sit outside because we wanted to do outdoor dining so we could see.
Did you see any cavalcades?
We saw 2.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we saw the one that's the parade float from the dance one, and then we saw the Mickey's Cavalcade for the 50th. And then they also had the Dapper Dans come out once, but there was a tree. So we could hear them, but we couldn't see them.
I feel like they didn't do their cavalcades with as much frequency as they have in the past. Probably because the crowds were so much more that day.
Probably.
Is what I was guessing. It's just harder to part.
Yeah. But we actually enjoyed Tony's. Like, I kind of went in with kind of no expectations because it's not one of the highest reviewed. I got the chicken parm, and then my husband got the spaghetti and meatballs. And then my chicken was good. It was fried appropriately. It wasn't hard or overcooked. It was moist. I didn't try the meatballs because I don't really like meatballs. But the spaghetti was flavorful, and then they bring you out the focaccia.
Oh, the bread and the oil is good.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
So, so if I hadn't had a giant headache that day, I probably would have enjoyed the meal even more.
Yeah.
But it was really good. And then we ended up leaving after that, so that way I could go back to the hotel and take some medicine. And we took like a 45-minute power nap because, and went back at like 7.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were like, we're gonna get a Mickey pretzel. You don't go to Disney without getting a Mickey pretzel. And so we went and we got there about like 7:30, 8 o'clock, and the crowds were already so bad, and the show didn't start until 9. So like getting through the hub, down Main Street through the hub, because the cart that we were going towards was the closest one. And it was on the Adventureland, like in between Adventureland and the America.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So that had Mickey pretzels, and it also had churros. And so we had to get there. So we had to go from the right side of Main Street down and then across the hub to get to that cart. And it took us probably 30 minutes to do that. And then
Did they exit you backstage?
No.
Because they exited us backstage.
They put us down the other side of Main Street.
Okay.
So like one side of Main Street was for one way of traffic. The other side was for the other way of traffic. So we ended up doing this big U essentially. And we'll talk about it more, but like the crowds were just awful. And I don't like their system with having that one-way traffic for people that are trying to get through the crowds to get to other places in the parks or just to get out of the park. I don't think it's a great system, but yeah, so we ended up eating and then left and went and hung out with Christopher and Zachary at the Contemporary.
Because Melanie and I were at Epcot to see Harmonious and basically really just to see Spaceship Earth. That was what I wanted to see.
Yeah.
And then the next morning we went to Animal Kingdom and spent a couple hours. We did a safari. We did Navi River Journey. That's all we did. And ate breakfast.
Where did you eat breakfast?
Tammy Tammy.
Okay.
Across from Doll Bar. That's what I was trying to do. Yeah.
Is that where you get the colossal cinnamon roll?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So it was good. Basic breakfast.
Yeah.
And then we left the parks. The last time we did that, because it opened at 7:30. Christopher and I did that last December. It was magical. But I feel like everybody had that plan this time. So again, I went into this weekend managing expectations for crowd levels. I knew it was going to be nuts and we wouldn't get to do everything we wanted to do. Yeah. And I was at peace with that. So it wasn't as great as it was back in December. But, still we saw a great safari. Got to see the lions. Everybody was out and moving. So it was good. And did y'all end up going to Hollywood Studios?
Yeah, we got there right at 9 o'clock and we spent an hour. We didn't ride anything because we ended up spending on our way. Sean wanted a Ronto wrap for breakfast and we've never had that. And so like, sure. So on our way to Galaxy's Edge, we stopped to take pictures of the 50th statues. And then we ate and then we got a blue milk and drank that on the way out. And left. Yeah. So
I forgot that we park hopped on our Epcot day. Just real quick, I want to mention this. So we went to Hollywood Studios, and the kids rode Smuggler's Run for the first time, and Melanie was the pilot, and it was just so much fun. That's awesome. They were still not putting parties together. So even though that's a 6-person attraction, it was just the 4 of us, and so the engineers were automated.
Automated.
Yeah. So it was not something I expected because I thought that they were starting to do single riders and put the people back together. So, but that was a really good experience because the kids had never done that before. So
yeah. And then also to mention, we braved the Emporium. I don't know if I mentioned that or not.
Yeah, we did too.
We went before our 3:30 reservation at Tony's, and it was a mistake.
Ours wasn't bad. Mel and I were leaving. I think we were leaving, or it was right before we were staking on our fireworks spot. And all of a sudden, that line that had been at a standstill all day, it's like Disney just said, screw it, and let everybody in. And so the line was just like hightailing it down Main Street. So Mel and I were like, all right. So we went in because I was still on the search for the white ears.
Yeah.
And so we went in we saw a line and we're like, what's this line for? And they said the tumblers. And we're like, okay. So we got in line, grabbed 2 tumblers, and then this other woman, you know how there's like this, not a rush, but like this need, like you're in there and you're like, oh, just grab all the things.
It's the Black Friday syndrome.
Yes, where you just grab things. I think this had happened to some other woman because we're just walking through the Emporium and she goes, here, you want a tumbler? Like, I didn't want this. I don't know why I grabbed it.
That is so funny.
So that's when we grabbed the 3rd tumbler, which originally I was going to give her, but we're using in a giveaway instead. So it kind of cracked me up, this woman.
That is hilarious.
And it also made me laugh that there were literal fistfights for the tumblers that morning, and then that evening they were just like huge stacks of them. And the very next day, I think they were on Shop Disney. So
now, granted, Shop Disney is more expensive because
they were $50 instead of $40.
50. Yeah.
So I probably wouldn't have done that because I also can't get my AP discount on Shop Disney, but it just kind of made me giggle a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, and I think now that it's all died down because none of that merchandise was exclusive to the first day.
Right.
It was it's going to be there for a year and a half, but there were fistfights.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, either. But all in all, it was a great weekend. I was pleasantly surprised having gone in with, fairly low expectations of what we would get to do. I am so glad that we'll get to say that we were there, on October 1st. And yeah, I'd do it again. People thought I was crazy, but I'd do it again.
Yeah, it was. I'm with you. I thoroughly expected to have like almost a miserable time because I was like, why am I doing this to myself?
Right.
But it was actually a lot more pleasant than I anticipated. We got to ride rides. I got to eat food. I missed out on the first merch because we went to the creation shop like 15 minutes before it closed on the first, and everything was so picked over. Yeah. Because we wanted the pass holder shirts, and all they had was like extra small and small.
Right.
So we missed on that.
But I fully expect that stuff's going to be restocked.
Not for the stuff that's only on the first.
What was the stuff that was only on the first?
There was a shirt that was, it said 1971 and then 2021, and then it had, I think, the castle in the center, and it said annual pass holder. Like that was exclusive to the first. The bucket hats were exclusive to the first. If you look on social media, a lot of people posted they were handing out like sheets of paper that had the merch on there. There was like hoodies, I think there was a Spirit jersey that was exclusive to the first. So like that kind of stuff was exclusive for the first. That I am a little sad that I didn't get an annual pass holder shirt because that would have been pretty cool because we upgraded to annual passes on the first. But they didn't have our size, so.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, well. We had to do other fun stuff, so.
Exactly. So all in all, like we said, great trip. We hope you guys enjoyed this incredibly long video.
Sorry.
Yeah. As well as the vlog series that we did before. So if you guys were there, if you have any of your experiences you want to share with us, please comment those below. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and we will see y'all in our next video. Bye.
Bye.